what is going on, everyone? Shiva Sapkota here with another Tesla accessory review. Today we are doing an installation and review of this really awesome front fog light for Tesla Model 3 and Model Y. These have sequential turn light indicator included, and then these are also much brighter than the OEM light. The installation is much easier compared to the other versions we have installed in the past. This does not require tapping into the side repeater camera or taking the wires all the way to the back. We just bypass the front headlight, and I'll show you how to do that really easily from the front, and then drop the wire and then just install this. The installation of the fog light itself is still the same, which is a little bit tedious because if you have a Model 3, you have to remove the wheel. But if you have a Model Y, you don't even have to remove the wheel. You can access it from here, and I'll show you step-by-step installation guide here in the video. Full disclosure, Pimp My EV sent us this light free of charge in the channel to make an installation guide and share our honest opinion. They're not sponsoring the video. They're not paying us to say anything. This is not a product advertisement. This is rather a detailed installation guide and a demonstration of all the features and functionality, as well as our honest opinion. If you do make a purchase using our discount code Shiva Tesla, we may make a very small commission at no additional cost to you, which helps us bring more videos like this in the future. Thank you very much. Let's get started. This new version of the lights have few notable benefits, and the huge one being they don't require you to tap into the side repeater camera or anywhere, not in the back. We don't have to route any cable. There is this version here where what it does is this bypasses your main headlight in the front. So we're going to connect this to the headlight, and then this just connects to the back, and that is it. That is all you have to do is swap the existing unit out, and it looks exactly the same as the OEM unit, just a tad bit smaller. And you just swap that out with this new version. You make a bypass to the headlight and then connect this here. That's it. One of the great things about this installation is that you can access this headlight plug by just removing this front panel. You don't have to remove the bumper or anything. So we're going to first test it just to make sure that this is compatible before we remove the wheel or try to fit it in without the wheel. And to remove this, it is super easy for all versions of the Tesla. You just remove this top panel here. You're going to take a 10mm socket and then remove the 4 socket screws here. If you have an older version of the car, you might have 6 or 10. So just check for all of those to see where you have all of the screws and then remove them all. So I'm going to remove this and then show you what the panel looks like inside. After you loosen all of those screws, this just comes out. It's super easy. There's nothing else that is holding this, and then so this comes out. But before we do that, I forgot, we gotta remove the front panel here. So once this is popped out, we just have to remove this pin from here, and then this front panel will just come out. So to test this out, we are going to first plug this in and then do the whole bypass and then see if this actually works. This is your headlight plug. So let me zoom in a little bit to show you what this looks like from close up. So that's the plug you're going to see on all the newer and the older Teslas. And what you do over here is you pull this out, this red pin out. So when we pull this out, it comes out. Then you kind of push on this, and then while holding this down, you pull this out. So this is out. It might take you a little while if you have never removed this. And then what we're going to do is take this clip over here. So this is the new harness that came with the kit, and we're just going to do a bypass. So connect this female into this male pin over here, and then once this is secured, so this is secured, we're going to take this other end and then simply plug it in to this space. So we did that. It made a little bit of noise, letting us know that the circuit is fully connected. Now we're going to take our light over here. So this is the new light, and we are going to plug this in here. So this is how this goes. This is good to go. Now we are going to connect the yellow with the yellow. This is for the turn signal functionality. So plug this in, yellow with yellow. Now let's go inside the car, turn on the fog light, and do some testing. So now I'm going to be testing this. So the light should have turned on right now, the fog light and the front headlight. Now this would be the signal that is on towards the right. So again, this is the right turn signal. So I'm going to check the camera and then see if this actually worked, but this is what it should be doing. The fog light should be on. This is the high beam. Again, the turn signal there. The installation for Model Y involves just rotating the tire towards that way, towards in, and then accessing this area right here. So you don't even have to remove the wheels or tires. If you want more space, for sure, you can remove it, but you don't have to. You're able to pass the fog light through this space right there without needing to remove the wheels. But for Model 3, you're gonna wanna remove the wheels. A couple of tools you will need for this installation using the wheel removal method. I'll put product links of these tools in the description of this video. Standard log wrench, some jack pads, a torque wrench is optional but highly recommended. You'll need some pry tools. I highly recommend this metal tool. Drill is optional but highly recommended. I also recommend this right angle tool, very useful for this job. Some electrical tape and scissors, and of course a low profile jack. We will start by removing the right side front wheel. Put the parking brakes on to be extra safe. Use the log wrench to slightly loosen the nuts but don't remove them yet. Now position your jack and insert the jack adapter in place and make sure it sits on top of the jack. Ensure it is secured in place. You can lift the car just enough to be able to remove the wheels. Remove the nuts and take out the wheel. Once the wheel is removed, you will have a lot of room to work with. We'll remove these liners to access the OEM fog lights. To remove the liner, we have to remove those plastic clips using a pry tool. This metal pry tool comes in very handy here. There are several of those clips you need to remove. If you somehow break some of those clips, you can pick them up at a local hardware store. Those are standard push type clips. You don't have to remove all the clips on the back side, just enough so you can roll the front liner out of the way. This will give you a clear view of the fog light. We're going to remove this entire assembly. There are some wire harnesses connected to this light that will unhook. This light is secured by 3 Torx 30 screws. One on the bottom right, one on the bottom left. There are no screws on the top left, but there is one more screw on the top right. There are also 4 clips that are holding the light into place. There are 2 on each location towards the top left. Now we'll grab our Torx 30 bit and our drill. This is where that right angle tool comes in very handy. We'll just insert the Torx 30 bit into the tool and we're able to access the screw at a 90-degree angle using our drill. Since the space is super tight here, you cannot fit a regular size drill at a straight angle. If you cannot fit your drill here, you can also use a regular screwdriver at a 90-degree angle using this awesome tool. Go ahead and remove those 3 Torx screws. Now the light will be loose at this point, but those clips on the top will prevent it from fully coming out. To get the light out, hold the light from the inside with one hand and push it from outside with your other hand. It could take some firm push to unclip those plastic clips on the top. There's just a hole in the fog light location here in the front. These are the plastic clips holding the light. There are still a few connectors we have to remove. There is one connector on the side that is going to the front ultrasonic sensor, and to remove it, just reach this plug from the fog light hole and pinch it on the back side. The plug will easily come out. Do the same thing with the bottom white plug. That one is a little stubborn, but it will come out eventually with some force. Finally, go ahead and unplug the main fog light connection. Just push down on the little tab at the end and pull the connector out. You can now safely remove the entire fog light assembly. So the overall plan for Model Y is we're going to pop this out. It's super easy to pop this out. You can remove some of this push pins here, and then we're just going to pull this out. There's nothing fancy about this, but there are some push pins that might get stuck. So I recommend using a tool like this to open it. I also have another metal pry tool. We're gonna have a small wrench like this for the screws inside. Of course, a flathead screwdriver especially for this one that is going to get a little stubborn. So we're going to insert a flathead screwdriver, but for the rest, we can use a pry tool, and we are just going to pry this out just a little bit. Then we're able to fold this out. Then we're gonna be reaching underneath there. And this thing just kind of pops out. There are just some pins on the side, so just make sure you don't break them and don't put excessive force on it. But you can, as you can see, you can pop this out pretty easily. That allows you more access to remove that. These are the pins that I was talking about that could get pretty stubborn and they get stuck in there. And you just use a tool like this where you insert it and then you can just pry this out super easily. So once you open this and then remove all those push pins, this is how we are going to access the light inside. That's the light that we're going to remove, but if you look at it, there are a couple of things we got to remove. So there is a screw there, there's a screw on the bottom, and then there is one screw on the very, very top over there. So we got to remove those Torque 25 screws, and that's in a pretty tedious spot, but it is doable on a Model Y. We just have to prop this out and then go inside, and that is where this little screwdriver becomes really handy. This is a wrench. It's a tiny wrench. I use extension here. I can just insert it and then open those screws, but I can't reach from here. So removing that plug from the top is the exact same method, and I would start with that process first. So you remove that plug. Now another thing that is a little bit difficult, and let me see if I can show you, is this plug right there. So that white thing is plugged into the light, and we got to remove this harness altogether. So I ended up cutting the electrical tape so that that white piece is freed. That's the best way I was able to find it working. So I removed the 3 screws from inside without removing the wheel for a Model Y, and it's such a tight space, as you can see. Like without the light, it's really hard to show you. But what this does is now this is super loose. Like this is, as you see, don't do that. Hold it from the other side, but as you can see, that's super loose. It just popped out. I did not push or anything. And then there's this pin on the side here. What you do is you kind of pinch from inside, and then you can just pull that out. As you can see, I already did it on one side. You can do that, so don't forget that pin as well. Now after we remove the plug that was connected here from the back, this might be a little bit challenging to remove it, but I think it's doable. So we just pull this out through here. Yep, there you go. So that light is out. Now here's the comparison between the 2 fog lights here. As you can see, all the connections, so this connection, that connection, all the top connections, they are exactly the same, the bottom connection. So there's no change between the 2. It is a 1-to-1 swap. The new light is a bit smaller, so that's even good news for us because we got tight space here to fit. But yeah, this is 1-to-1 connection, and we got this really big bright lights here instead of just having this bulb over here. So the installation is gonna be just everything in reverse now. Now for this insertion is going to be a little bit difficult, but what you wanna do is this edge over here, you wanna align it so that it faces like this. So this part where there's the top and the bottom screw is facing this way. So that way towards you. So now it's the exact same deal. You wanna face it this way and then insert this. As I said earlier, this is a bit smaller than the OEM light, so we had no problem just inserting this here. So that's how easy it was. Unfortunately for Model 3, you do have to remove the wheels, but for Model Y, we don't. That makes this installation 1,000 times easier. Now looking at it from the front, you wanna put your hand to the back and then simply align this light over here, and it will fit perfectly on this opening. You can remove this protective film now. Now before you fix this, there is this pins over here. There's 1, 2, there is 3 pins on the back, 4 pins actually. There is one small one here, and what you have to do is you got to align that and insert it through this opening. That will help you provide that additional strength. So in case the screw fell or anything, this also provides that additional strength. So what you need to do is then you got to push this up, and if we look at it on the top here, we got to align it so that if you look at it, kind of inserts into those ports over there that way, and this will secure the light. Once the front is secured, you want to start by putting on that top screw inside there, because that allows you to secure the light, and then you can go ahead and install the other bottom 2 screws. Now again, for the wiring, we removed this headlight connection from here. We're going to take this and bypass the headlight connection by simply plugging this in. Make sure it clicks, and then you want to push this pink connector inside so that this is fully secure. Then you're going to take the other end over here and then simply push this in, and you'll hear a click, and then you want to push this yellowish connector, gray connector actually, push it in so that this is securely in place. Now we just have to route this towards the bottom so that this whole connection makes sense. So we're going to route this towards the bottom and then grab this connector from the bottom to make the whole connection. So now we have routed the plug from the top. That's the plug there. Sorry, it's just so tight space. It's so hard to show you. There's the plug there, and then the other plug that's hanging from there. We're going to make that connection, and then we're going to make the yellow connection as I showed you earlier. And that should do it. We're not going to be using the existing fog light. What we do is we'll just tape this with electrical tape and then put this away, zip tie it somewhere else. As far as the wire routing goes, I brought everything in, including this adapter over here. rolled up all the wires and then connected with this harness here using a zip tie. You can put some electrical tapes. Just make sure that this does not rattle while moving, and you can also use more electrical tape, and also make sure that there is no too much tension over here, that this is actually really secured and this is not going to come out, and that's it. And we are ready to just put this cover back on. This is the OEM fog light, and then this is the new light that we just installed. So the main difference between these two lights is that in the OEM light, you got one bulb here, you got a reflector, and there's a small light strip that is going. I don't even think that lights up, so it's pretty dim for that purpose. And then the turn signal, of course, this does not show the turn signal. Versus if we go towards the new light over here, you see that there is those light strip kind of going through left and right, and then those two are super bright LED lights, and then you can also see the turn signal indicator here. So here is the hazard light on, so there is both top and bottom with the turn signal, but if we go to the OEM one, the bottom one does not have the turn signal, only the top one. Here is one more testing here. So when I turn on the light, as you see on both sides, there's a startup animation on the new light, nothing on the right light. Now, if we just put the turn signal, so I am putting turn signal on both sides. This is the hazard signal. So it's both sides should be turned on. Right now on the OEM one, you don't see that. On the new one, you see the turn signal turned on. So what do you think about this fog lights? Would you get it for your Tesla Model 3 or Model Y? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? Please let me know in the comment section below. I think these are really great alternative to the other fog lights in the market that are a little bit difficult to install. This ones look really cool. They have this pattern over here, allows you to have a sequential turn signal functionality. Of course, I wish it was more of a exact plug and play where we remove this and put the fog light from the Tesla and then be done with it. But this one is the easiest one, as I said in the beginning, because we want the turn signal functionality here. We can't just swap it with the existing light. One thing to keep in mind is that I tried these lights on my Model 3 and they did not work because my Model 3 is an older Model 3, 2018 Model 3. So maybe the connections wasn't right, but Model Y worked great. So if you do order this, please make sure to specify your car model and ensure that they work. And first try it when you get your light by removing the front panel before you start removing the wheels and everything. Thank you very much for your continued support to the channel. If you do want to check this out, I have a special link down below from Pimp My EV with the discount code Shiva Tesla. You should be able to save some money. If you found this video helpful, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and come back again soon for another Tesla accessory.